It is that time of the year. Everybody wants to disappear, go ghost, upgrade their life, become a new person. And I'm here for it to a certain extent. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm all here for self growth. I'm all here for becoming your best self and your best you. But I feel like you have to be very careful because disappearing can actually be something that can make you worse when you come back. It actually can have like detrimental outcomes that moving forward can literally make you feel paralyzed to not want to do anything else again. So, in today's episode, I'm going to talk to you guys about the dangers of disappearing and going ghost, how to essentially do it correctly, and hopefully give you a different outlook on it moving forward. Now, I just want to thank you guys for coming to the first episode of The Simple Complex, formerly known as The Social Diaries. On this podcast, I just want to break down complex, sometimes just self growth topics that really don't make sense sometimes, or you just don't understand them, and just give you guys a better understanding of how to do those things. So let's get straight into this episode. So, one of the things I'm going to need you to do, figure out what do you want out of this disappearing thing. I think sometimes people look at it like, oh, I'm disappearing, I'm getting off social media, or I'm not hanging out with friends anymore, or I'm staying inside on the weekends. And like, a lot of people are doing these things just because they sound like good things. And I always say, if you want to do something good, why don't you go to a third world country and become like a missionary? Why don't you become a doctor? Why don't you become a lawyer and help fight for kids that are struggling? Like, if you really want to just do something good, there's a lot of good things you can do in the world, but you don't do them. Why? Because they are not for you. And so it's the same thing when it comes to like your self-growth journey. I think a lot of people mess themselves up because it's like they're just doing a whole bunch of good stuff and they think that that's going to change their life. They think that's going to change their identity. And when it doesn't, they feel like they're broken. Because you got to think about it. If all these people are saying, oh, I disappeared and I did this and I did that, and when I came back, I was a better person, I was a new person. If you do the same thing they told you to do and you come back and you don't have that same feeling, or you went off social media because you were on it too much and you come back and you're addicted again, or you stop hanging out with friends or stop spending a whole bunch of money for a little bit, and as soon as you get back, because you have to reappear again eventually, you're doing the same things that you were before. It's going to make you feel like there must be something wrong with you. And that can be detrimental because it might get you into the loop of never feeling like you can do anything. Because mentally you're gonna be like, there's something wrong with me. Like, that's the reason why I'm not good with my finances. That's the reason why I can't keep going to the gym. That's the reason, because you tried to do what everyone else said they did and it didn't work for you. So like subconsciously or sometimes consciously, it makes us feel like there must be something wrong with me. A simple analogy to think about is like a cell phone. Let's say, these people have all these features on their phone and they're like, oh, my phone could do this and my phone could do that. And you're like, oh, well, my phone can't do that. And they're like, yeah, it can. All you have to do is do this update. All you have to do is do this, add this app, do all these other things. And they be like, it's gonna take a couple hours. Like, it's gonna take some time, but like when you get it back, it's gonna be so worth it because it's gonna change your phone. If you get your phone back and your phone is still doing the same thing it did before, what are you gonna think? The same thing we all gonna think. Our phone is broken. So anytime something happens, because phones are not perfect, just like us, your phone may glitch, your phone may not get a call, I don't know, something, you're going to always go back to the resolution that my phone is broken. And you're going to treat your phone as if it is a broken phone. And it's not even gonna make you like your phone anymore. It's gonna make you want another phone because you're like, oh, my phone is so broken. I wish I had this phone. I wish I had that phone. Very similar to your life. You're gonna think that you're broken because when you came back from your disappearing, you're going ghost, you didn't change the way that you thought you would. So now you start idolizing other people. You start looking at other people's life like, oh, if I was just raised like them, oh, if I just had this life, very similar to the phone, because you think that you are broken. Now, how to make sure that that does not happen to you? You have to know, like, what is your expectation with this entire disappearing thing? I think there's two ways to look at it. Either you are trying to grow your willpower or you are trying to change your identity. The problem is most people are trying to change their identity, right? They're trying to come back and become a new person, but they do things that are based on willpower. So what is willpower? It's literally the power that you have over yourself to do things that you really don't want to do, but you're doing it because you know it's good for you. So it's you waking up at 6 a.m. knowing that you really don't want to get up, but you're like, I have to do it. It's you ordering the salad when you go out, knowing you really want them chicken wings, but you're like, you know what, I'm on a diet, I'm gonna have the salad. That is willpower. The difference with identity changing things is it starts to just become a habit for you and you don't think about it. So the difference between waking up with identity changing things versus habit changing things willpower things are, when you wake up and it's part of your identity, your body naturally wakes up at 6 a.m. You don't have to force yourself. When you go out to eat, your eyes naturally go to the salads and the soups. You don't even look at the chicken wings because it's a thing of that's just who I am. And I think a lot of people do willpower challenges. Now, to a certain extent, you do need willpower, especially in the beginning. You need to be able to force yourself to do new things because you already have normal habits. But the whole point of you disappearing is obviously you want to change these habits, which is great. But the problem is, like, a great example of this is like the 75 hard challenge. I've talked about this before, on my YouTube channel. But with the 75 hard challenge, you've possibly heard of it, possibly not. The way it works is for 75 days, you're just going to do a whole bunch of hard things, like 5 hard things. It's like drink a gallon of water, do 2 45-minute workouts, read 10 pages of a nonfiction book, eat a certain diet. It's like just a whole bunch of things that you have to do every single day for 75 days. The problem is, first and foremost, if you're familiar with how the challenge started, I don't know the specific, like what his title was of the man that created it, but I know the man who created it basically just made a list of a whole bunch of hard things that he thought people cannot complete. And he said something like, oh, only 4 people probably can do this in the world or something to that extent. But obviously, thousands of people have done it later. The root of it is these things are not going to change your life because they weren't meant to change your life. Somebody literally created this challenge because he thought people couldn't do it. It's like you literally just creating a schedule that is so hard and you're trying to convince yourself, oh, if I can complete this, I can become a better person. If you get what I'm saying, like, are you training to become an Olympic athlete? Are you training to go to, play professional sports? You don't need to do 2 45-minute workouts. Another thing, a gallon of water, especially for us women, it's not even recommended for a lot of body sizes. Like, that's actually too much water. The whole idea is you are doing a challenge for willpower. Now, if that's something that you just want to do, right? You're like, okay, I'm going to disappear. I'm going to do this challenge and I just want to build up my willpower. That's fine. That's like, if that's what you want to do, that is fine. I'm not saying challenges like those are bad, but the problem is a lot of people are trying to change their identity. If you are trying to change your identity, you have to figure out what are things that you need to start doing that is going to make a difference in your life. Like, that's kind of like going back to the example I said about like becoming a lawyer or becoming a doctor. If you are only going to school just to prove to yourself that you can become a lawyer, it's not that you like law, you don't even really like helping people, but it's like, I want to do this thing just to prove to myself that I can do this thing. That's willpower. But if you say to yourself, okay, I want to become, a lawyer because it's something that I really like. I really like helping people. I know this thing is going to be hard, but this is what I truly would do if money wasn't even an option. Like, this is what I truly love to do. That's how you change your identity. And so when it comes to identity habits that you want to start doing or challenges you want to start doing, you have to figure out, like I said, what's going to change your life. So an example for me is during my disappearing era that I'm currently going through, I stopped going on social media. Now, I know some people are like, okay, but that's a duh. Like, every video, self-help video says not going on social media. That is true as well. But the reason why I stopped going on social media, and I deleted almost every social media platform, is because I went to how many hours I was spending a day on social media, and I saw the amount of time, and I said, this is ridiculous. I currently have a YouTube channel where I post 3 times a week. Sunday, Wednesday, Friday. Check that out. I'll put it in the description below. Now I have this podcast that I'm coming out with every Saturday. I have a newsletter that I'm going to start coming out with every Sunday. Go in the caption below to sign up for that. And if you're listening to the audio version of the podcast, if you go in the description below, you can find the YouTube version. Then I am essentially building my brand around this whole self-help and just like these things that I'm trying to do to just help individuals, while also balancing a job, while also balancing just being a 24-year-old woman. It is a lot. And sometimes I do get overwhelmed, but I can't sit here and tell myself, oh yeah, I'm overwhelmed, I don't want to record content, or I'm overwhelmed, I can't finish this book, or I'm overwhelmed, I can't. But then I look and see I'm spending hours a day on social media. So This is a part of changing my identity, because being on social media less is helping me get closer to the life, i.e. the identity that I want to have. If you get what I'm saying. There are some people that are literally going off of social media just to get off social media. Like, what are you doing during that time period? And some people are doing the 245-minute workouts, and they're doing the, reading a self-help book or whatever the case may be. But if those things aren't truly the things that you care about, once you get back and you reappear, because you're going to have to, right? You can't disappear forever. You're going to become addicted to those things again. For example, for me, when I come back, i.e. I re-download the apps because I have to, when I start getting on social media, just doing certain things again, I'm not going to do it at the volume that I did it before, i.e. I'm going to change my identity because I found something to fill the time with that I can consistently do. If you are not going to be consistently doing 245-minute workouts, that thing is not going to change your identity. Your identity are the habits that you already do. So I feel like you have to be honest with yourself and ask yourself, am I doing this challenge just to gain willpower? And honestly, I do recommend willpower challenges for individuals who really don't know where they want to start with the change of life. Like, there's some people that's like, I really don't know what I want to start to do. One of the best things I've realized in life, if you don't know what you want, figure out what you don't want. And even me, earlier this year, I did the 75 hard challenge, and I realized what I didn't want. I was trying to grow on social media, but then I'm also trying to do 245-minute workouts a day, drink all this water, all this other stuff. Then I'm trying to be healthy. I was shopping at Whole Foods, spending all this money on groceries and stuff. And I wasn't even contributing to my channel because it was just too much. It took too much time trying to work out, trying to eat healthy, go to the grocery store, do all these other things, and then give equal amount of attention to my channel. So I had to step back and ask myself, what is more important to me right now? Yes, I do care about health and wellness. I always talk about that, just keeping yourself, up and decent. But at the same time, I care more about my channel than I care about working out 245 minutes workout today. I care more about my channel than working out every single day. Now I did it down to only working out 3 times a week, and that is great because I'm not training to be a competitive sports athlete or anything like that. You get what I'm saying? I think sometimes too, we get so bent up about other people's goals and dreams and aspirations for themselves. Like, this girl is telling you that she works out 5-6 times a week, but if you look at her page, she's also a fitness influencer. So she has to keep that tip-top body. She has to, you get what I'm saying? And you're frustrated because you can't get the same, when you did your disappearing, you might have did work out 5 times a week because you just gave yourself enough willpower to do it. And sometimes it's easier to have willpower when you tell yourself for only 75 days, for only 90 days, but you have to realize you're going to have to keep being that person when you get back. It's okay if for a certain amount of time you're just going to go harder in the direction that you want to go into. That's okay as well. But at the same time, I've realized I have to make these things realistic for me. I have to make them things that I actually care about. And then I think during the time period, it makes you, like I said, figure out what you like and what you don't like. But then also, what are you going to be doing when you reappear? I think that's the biggest thing I realized for myself, because especially after doing a 75 hard challenge or sometimes these winter arcs and stuff like that, you get back and you're like, well, I don't have to do this. I don't have to do that anymore. And it's what do I do? Of course, you're going to go back on social media. Of course, like I said, you're going to go back to all these things because it's you never filled that time with something that you truly wanted to do that was going to change your identity. You just filled it with something that other individuals did. And I was thinking in my head, but I'm maybe I shouldn't say it out loud. Does that sound right? But I guess I do. You have to fill that time with a feeling. You have to FILL the time with the FEELING. Because if you don't, I don't know. One thing I've realized in life, and I feel like it's an ongoing journey as you grow, but if I cannot attach a feeling to something that I really care about, I'm not going to be able to sustain it. And that can even happen sometimes in cases of because sometimes people disappear and they don't even do it on purpose, but they just disappear and go bad. They just do things that they know they shouldn't have done. Maybe it's binge eating for a certain amount of months. Maybe it's you drinking too much for a certain amount of time period. And it's when you reappear, because hopefully you do get out of that fog of, that thing, it's kind of some people actually can reappear better. And an example of this is, to make it make sense, during the Vietnam War, I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but a lot of soldiers became addicted to drugs, specifically heroin, because it was so easy to get out there. And don't get me to lying, but I think like 60 to 70 something percent of soldiers got addicted. That is scary, considering all the thousands, tens of thousands of soldiers that were over there. So America is thinking, when these men come back, we're going to bring a whole bunch of drug addicts back into America. That does not sound good for the economy. That does not sound good for the American people, because these people are fathers, these people are brothers, they're cousins, like they're workers. And it's like, one, they're probably not going to be law-abiding citizens anymore because they're addicted to drugs. And then two, they might get other people addicted to drugs. And it just became a very scary thing. Why, when they got back, I think 90% of them, don't give me the line with the statistics on that, but a very high percent of them were not drug addicts. And America was like, what? How was that possible? Like, for months, like, you know what I'm saying? For a very long time, these people were addicted to drugs. How is it that as soon as they got back, they snapped out of it? Like, most of them never even touched it again, because they filled that time with a feeling. It's not that they just came back onto American soil. No, they came back to being fathers, being brothers, being teachers, being like, it's so crazy because you wouldn't think about it, but this man, your professor that's teaching you, who told you he was in the Vietnam War, little do you know, he was a drug addict that entire time there. But what, he had a feeling, he had a purpose, something that really gave him an identity that he wanted to have. And he filled that with the time that he was using drugs, if that makes any sense. And I feel like that's why it's very important to like attach a feeling to something. The stronger that you care about something, as far as being, I'm the kind of woman that, I'm the kind of person that does whatever the case may be, then the more likely you are to stick with those things. And do you want to be the kind of person that works out 2 times a day? Do you want to be the kind of person that drinks a gallon of water? Do you want to, if that's what you want to do, then by all means. But like, if you really can sit down with yourself and say, well, I don't think that that's what I want to do, then just be honest with yourself. I'm doing this challenge solely for willpower. I'm doing this challenge solely just to prove to myself that I can do something, because I never prove to myself I can do nothing. I'm never consistent with nothing. I can never rely on myself. I can never do it. That's going to build up your confidence possibly in yourself, which is fine to do. But don't get to some of these challenges and they tell you, oh, you're going to change your life in 30 days. And then you get back, you did everything they told you to do. You did all the updates. You did all the, you know what I'm saying, the downloads and all the time. And it's like, why isn't it working like everyone else? Because that thing wasn't supposed to work like that. You're using it incorrectly. And I don't know. I just wanted to talk about that topic because it's that time of the year. You know, everybody's disappearing and doing these challenges. And like I said, there are benefits to them. But at the same time, they can be detrimental if you do them incorrectly. And sometimes that detriment can last people 10, 15 years. Sometimes people can snap out of it. It just depends. But if you do things incorrectly and get results that you didn't think you were going to get, and feel like you got a life that you didn't get, it's going to constantly make you become a follow the leader. You're going to envy everyone else's life because you're like, they did all the things and it works for them, so it must be something wrong with me. And it's, I don't know, I think it's just going to cause you to have a bad relationship with yourself. All in all, I think that's how it kind of boils down to, because you're not going to be able to, like, you literally think there's something wrong with you. I don't think people talk about that. Like, I think a lot of people think that, actually. A lot of people genuinely think there is something wrong with them. And that's why they haven't been able to do a multitude of things in life. And I'm not going to sit here and lie with y'all and be like, oh, I felt that specifically before, but I have felt a feeling like I was so different that I couldn't get a life that certain people have. I guess that is kind of like saying there's something wrong with me. Yeah, I guess I did. I definitely felt that growing up. Like, I felt like I was just so different from others that like I couldn't do the same things other people did to get what they got. And to a certain extent, that is beneficial, because it's like I didn't try to replicate people. I didn't try to, but I think at the same time, when you're like, I don't know, when you're growing up, or when you're just in life, I don't even think it's when you're growing, well, more so when you're growing up, but just as you're growing in life, I think when you mentally exclude yourself from so many things, feeling like that thing won't work for me, or I can't do it like everybody else, I have to be so different, it just puts a lot more stress on you. And I realized that happened with me a lot in life. Like, I just always was so, I have to figure this out, and I have to, because I'm so different from everybody, and and it puts so much stress on me, because it's kind of like sometimes people will do things correctly. Like, they'll kind of will show you how to do things. They'll kind of show you how to, you get what I'm saying? Like, and that could be a plethora of things. Like, it could be somebody on social media showing you how to create a budget. It can be somebody on social media showing you how to start a business. But like, if you really think it's something wrong with you, you are going to convince yourself that way won't work for you. And maybe it won't. It's all trial and error. But at the same time, like, if you genuinely feel like it's something wrong with you, it doesn't matter how somebody breaks down. It could be the thing that you say you really want to do in life, and somebody can give you a whole blueprint on how to do it, and you still won't go after that thing because you think that it's something wrong with you, because you've tried it before, you did the things people told you to do, and you didn't get the same results as other people. And so I say all that to say, please make sure when you're doing these things that you know the expectation that you want out of it. Are you building willpower, or are you doing these things to literally try to change your identity? But the thing about identity is too, and I'm not going to go into it too much, I feel like that would be a whole different episode, but that changes as well. Like, the things that I wanted even earlier this year, like I said, with the whole working out and all the other stuff, I don't care about as much now, and I don't want as much now. But I guess I had to go through a process of trying to get it, to figure out that I didn't want it as much as I did, or saying to myself, you know what, this year is not going to be get your body right year. Like, this is not the year for that. Like, it's so crazy, but it's like we look at life in such small, minute fractions, and it's like, well, we all say we want to grow old. We all say, you know, oh my gosh, I'm going to be 30 in 10 years. Oh my gosh, I'm going to be 40 in 20 years. But it's like, when it comes to self-growth, we look at it like it has to happen within a 12-year time span. Like, you have to get your body together. You have to get your business together. You have to get, and it's like, no, like, you can use 2025 to get your mental health together. You could use 2026 to get your body together. You could use 2017 to start that business. Like, however you want to do it. But I feel like we look at it like we have to do everything in such short time spans. And you can have moments where you disappear and you come back. And you could do that every 6 months and just have, okay, this disappearance, I'm focusing on this. This disappearance, I'm focusing on that. I do think disappearing is good though, because it's kind of like you sometimes do have to just like cold turkey separate yourself from things that aren't beneficial to you. But like I said, you have to figure out why you're doing that thing, and then what thing are you going to fill in between that time period that you can consistently do and you can consistently build upon. So thank you guys so much for listening to the first episode of The Simple Complex. Like I said, I'm going to be coming out with new episodes every single Saturday. So be on the lookout for that. If you are watching on YouTube, please, 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 can you follow? Can you comment below? Like, share, all that stuff. If you are listening on like Spotify or Apple Podcasts, if you can please rate the podcast 5 stars, I would appreciate that so much. Also share it with anybody else. And in the description below for all platforms, I'll share other ones. So like, if you like, yeah, I like YouTube, but you know, I want to try listening to it on Spotify, the link will be below there. If you're like, I like listening to it on Spotify, but I want to see the video version, the link will be below there. So thank y'all so much, and I hope that y'all have a great one, and thank y'all for coming on this journey with me. Oh, also, the last thing, make sure you sign up for the newsletter. This is so you're notified when new episodes come out. You're going to be also notified for my YouTube channel. If you're not familiar for there, if you like this video, go in the description below and sign up for my I'm trying to think of so much stuff at once. Sign up for my follow my YouTube channel, because I have hundreds of videos on here. So this just started, but there I have hundreds of videos. So if you like that, that also will be below in the description. And on there, as I said earlier, I come out with new videos every Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday, but this will be on Saturday. So it's really like I'm almost giving y'all content every single day of the week. Like, the only days y'all not getting content is Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. But the rest of the days, y'all getting content. So thank y'all so much for supporting me. I appreciate you guys so much. And thank you for coming on this journey with me. And I hope that you have a great one. And also comment below any content ideas you would like me to talk about, things you would like me to break down. I tried to make this a little bit more of a conversational thing. I feel like on my YouTube, I'm breaking stuff down. But this one, I just want it to be kind of a conversation, just an ongoing thing to like talk about. And I don't have to have too many whiteboard statistics and stuff like that. But anyway, thank you guys so much and have a good one.